Hi, I'm Janet Hune in Salisbury, Maryland. This is my bestest buddy, Norman, and this is my funky chair that I bought at a garage sale about 6 months ago after deciding that I wanted to sell some stuff on eBay. I've incorporated Normie and my funky chair into my logo and have named my new business Funky Chair and Stuff.
This all began because I had lots of personal stuff that I wanted to get rid of. I had bought things on eBay before but had never sold anything. So I Googled selling on eBay and came up with Lynn Draley's website, www.thequeenofauctions.com, where she has books and videos about selling on eBay. I ordered her book, The Unofficial Guide to Making Money on eBay, and soon began listing and selling my things. One of the first items I sold was this brass deer figurine that my parents used to own that ended up being bought by someone in British Columbia, Canada. It was heartwarming to think that perhaps my family heirloom was going to be appreciated by people living where these animals are roaming in the wild. This antique stained glass lamp belonged to my husband Fred's parents. It sold to a lamp retailer in New York City for $100. I'm sure he'll turn around and resell it for much more, but I was just glad to get it out of my attic before it got broken. This very large framed oil canvas is from my parents, who purchased it in New Jersey back in the 70s. The buyers paid as much to have it shipped as they paid for it. That was quite an experience trying to find the right size box. I ended up finding one at a truck rental place. It was nice to see it traveling back to New Jersey. I bought this Mamiya medium format camera from a professional photographer going out of business in 2003. I never ever used it, and it had sat on a shelf for all these years until a guy from California was thrilled to have won it, and I'm thrilled it will be used and appreciated. So far, I've received several $1,000s by selling my stuff on eBay. It's been a lot of fun, and I've gotten much more for these items than I could have ever gotten by having a garage sale. Speaking of garage sales, there are chapters in Lynn Draley's book that have to do with going to garage sales to purchase items, to then sell them on eBay, actually starting your own little business. This intrigued me, as I could see that I could do this during my slow and off-season time with photography. So I purchased Lynn's book, Money Making Madness, and her video, Trash to Cash. My friend and fellow photographer Pat and I followed Lynn through the video as she went on her garage sale and eBay auction adventures. It was fun to watch her. We got excited and decided that we wanted to begin our own adventures with selling garage sale treasures right here in Salisbury, Maryland. So come join us as I share about some of our interesting and fun experiences on our new venture. We went to our first garage sale in November, which, unbeknownst to us then, was a great time to list things on eBay because of Christmas. The lady at this sale was moving and anxious to get rid of things, and we got some great bargains. One was this beautiful Orr Health 100% wool blanket that I paid $1 for. I just thought it was pretty. I didn't have a clue it would end up selling for $70. I found out that wool blankets sell well on eBay and have sold many more since. So I'm always on the lookout for them, as well as handmade quilts, crocheted afghans, and chenille bedspreads. It seems that people also use chenille to cut down to use for crafting. It was at this first sale that I found my funky chair that I now use in my logo. It was made and signed by the lady's teenage niece, Leandra. I paid $10 for it. It actually doubles as a great prop in my photography studio, too.
down there is going to clear up.
It's nice now.
You can get out and take your pictures if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lynn, the Queen of Auctions, also suggests to check out thrift stores. We have a Salvation Army that's less than 2 miles away. One of my early treasures from there was a little red early American Depression demi-tasse glass marked Sarasota 1903. What did I know? I paid 50 cents for it and thought I'd do fine if I could get $9.99 for it maybe. Well, that little glass got into a bidding war and ended up selling for $70. That certainly helped to cement my desire to continue on with this new venture. 140-time markup. That's what's neat about eBay. You don't always need to know the value of something. There are people out there who will know it and will usually bid it up to its value. The man that bought it sent me a feedback that he was so happy to have gotten it. I guess he knows what it is. And thanked me for taking the extra care to wrap it so well. eBay has a thing called feedback where you hear from many of the people you've sold to, and we can also leave feedback to our buyers. eBay grades buyers and sellers by how many positive feedbacks are received versus negative ones. Here's another 50-cent item purchased at Salvation Army, which we now call Sally's Place. It's a weird-looking porcelain creamer. I almost didn't get it, but I thought, what the heck for 50 cents? I brought it home and asked my son Josh if it was some sort of Star Wars type character. He said he didn't have a clue. So it sat on the shelf for several months as I thought I'd probably bought a bomb. Then I was fiddling around eBay one day and that little creamer came to my mind, so I typed in Man in the Mountain Creamer in the eBay research, and voila, up popped photos of ones just like mine that had been sold. It was made by Royal Bayreuth, which is one of the finest and oldest German porcelain producers. And come to find out, it is called the Old Man in the Mountain because it was a souvenir sold at a former New Hampshire landmark, a rock formation with a jagged profile of a face. The site succumbed to gravity in 2003 due to natural deterioration of the soil. You love it when your item is no longer available. Anyway, this weird item ended up selling for $13, 25 times what I paid for it. Someone out there is thrilled to have it. I feel like an item adoption agency sometimes, finding happy, loving, appreciative homes for these lonely, often forgotten orphaned items. Sally's Place, Salvation Army, has turned out to be our own little 7-day-a-week ongoing garage sale. Sometimes we go there 2 or 3 times a day, since they put items out all day long. It saves us money and gas, since regular garage sales can have us driving all over the county. We've even found almost new, brand-name pocketbooks and high-end clothing for our own use. It's also nice to know our money is going to a worthy charity. Because it's so close, many times we'll write down the name and description of a more expensive item and come home to research it on eBay to see how much we might be able to sell it for and whether it would be worthwhile to go back to buy it. It takes some of the risk out of buying something expensive that we aren't really sure about. Of course, the downside is that someone else can swipe it up before we get back there for it. Pat found this runaway bride bowl at Sally's Place and was all excited because she felt she had found a real treasure. It was a half coconut bowl that had a handwritten note scotch taped to the bottom that said, "This bowl was used in the movie Runaway Bride." I laughed so much and said there was no way someone was going to buy a half coconut with somebody's little handwritten message on it and believe it's true. Well, guess who had egg on their face? She paid 50 cents for it, and someone paid $14.95 for that bowl. I told her we could go out and buy a bunch of coconut halves, put notes on them, and go into business selling those things. While at Sally's place, I like looking for handmade crocheted afghans or throws, as they usually sell for only $1 or $2. But I also saw a shopping cart loaded to the gills that the sales lady always uses to put out the new merchandise. And down on the underneath shelf of the cart was a gorgeous afghan with a $2 tag on it. I couldn't find the sales lady anywhere, so I thought, well, I'll just take it and add it to my stuff. While I was waiting at the checkout line, I saw a woman looking at clothing, and right next to her was this very same cart, loaded to the gills. I suddenly realized that I had lifted that afghan out of another customer's cart. I very sheepishly edged my way over, and quickly, while her back was turned, threw it back onto her cart. Thank God no one but me and God knew what I had done, and I think he has a pretty good sense of humor. Yeah, downstairs basement area that I use as my photo studio. Used to be an apartment for my mother before she passed away. But we do photography, and then I have my offices in here. Computer. And recycle boxes that we get out of the dumpsters. And another room that's an extra bedroom that we've been using for priority boxes that we get free from the post office. And Pat uses this room to do her shipping out of too. These are items that were purchased at Salvation Army or garage sales over the past week that need to be listed on eBay. So we're going to take down some information. First of all, the weight, 2.5 pounds, and the size, 12 by 9, and a couple of photographs. Very good. We're all set to list on eBay. Here's where we come, one of our places we come for boxes. Little goodies like this. And these come in handy too sometimes for cups, whatever. I don't have too much today. Or dumpster dumping for packing material. Customer that bought this little Hawaii cup, so I need to wrap it, ship it out to them. I have some recyclable stuff that I'm going to stuff in the box. Got a free priority box from the post office. And wrap it with bubble wrap that I've purchased from Sam's Club.
And I'm going to double wrap it with some of this recyclable stuff that we got from the garbage bin. I'm going to make sure things are wrapped really well because we don't want disappointed customers if something gets broken. And put it in there. And we make sure it's got good packing. And I put a little card in there telling the customers about myself and what we do, and asking them for positive feedback if everything arrives okay. So we put that in there. And we have the postage that was printed on the eBay from the eBay site, so we can attach that to it, and then we'll be all ready to go.
We extend a hearty thank you to Lynn Draley, the Queen of Auctions, for putting some wind in our sails to help launch us on our great new adventure. She's graciously shared her many years of knowledge, and Pat, Samson, Maxine, and my bestest, Hound Dog Buddy Norman, and I want to let her know how much it is appreciated.